Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 3 of Dead X-Men, written by Steve Fox. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. Now just to provide a recap up to this point, in the previous issue the team was sent into a Moira engine timeline in order to find the exact moment Moira's mutant power manifested. But while they were there, some unforeseen events took place that threatened to derail everything the team fought to achieve. And chief among those events was Moira creating her time-traveling battle axe and searching the timelines. So with the first mission accomplished, Prodigy believed there was more they could do to help in solving mutantKind's biggest threat. So in hopes of finding more information pertaining to the Dominion, Prodigy suggests for the team to go beyond their mission and search her past lives as well. Which was a good call, because in one of the past lives, the team stumbled upon pieces of evidence of a mad Moira causing havoc everywhere she went. So with that said, this issue opens up with the team falling out of yet another portal, but this time they end up in a place that resembles ancient Egypt. And as they made their way down the hallway, they stumbled upon a massive chamber, and at the head of it sat Apocalypse and Moira. For our team landed in her 9th life, where Moira was allied with the mighty Apocalypse himself. So with shock in the air, the Omega-level mutant summoned his host of archangels to eliminate his intruders. So as fear gripped our team's hearts, they immediately took off running down a hallway while begging for Rachel to pull them out of this timeline. So just as the host was closing in, just in the nick of time, the dead X-Men appeared back in the white-hot room. So with yet another failure, Prodigy calls out for Rachel to send them back out again, for he wasn't ready to take a break quite yet. Because that was Moira's 9th life, and while they were there, Prodigy picked up nothing about a Dominion, so with no Dominion information out there, the team had to switch objectives and focus on tracking down the missing Moira that was jumping through time. But just because Prodigy was ready to go, didn't mean his team was, for Cannonball tells him to take a breather because he was pushing the team too hard. And speaking of pushing someone too hard, Rachel appeared before the team, with a hint of irritation in her voice, because she just found out that the mission parameters changed yet again. Because due to the complication, even though they can't find any additional information about the Dominion in their past lives, they still need access to the time stream because the rogue Moira is still traveling through them. For on the next page, we see Moira watching the trial of Cyclops from the shadows in her 10th life. And that wasn't all, for we also spotted Moira once again traveling to her 3rd life, all in hopes of returning to her origins, her 1st life. So while Moira continued her hunt, we transitioned back to the dead X-Men team continuing their conversation with Rachel. And by the sounds of it, Rachel was not in a happy mood, for she just found out that a half-mad Moira got her hands on Mysterium, which is the same mutant metal that they barely understand. And to kick that off, the team didn't think that was worth telling her the moment they discovered what she was planning. So with that said, Jubilee was not about to roll over to Rachel, because she goes on to say that she was sorry that they didn't realize it was within their mission objectives to kill off all potential threats they encountered in breaching realities. Because to the best of her knowledge, the whole point of this mission was to draw as little attention to themselves as possible. So with the team at odds, Cannonball starts to blame himself for everything, because he was the one who rushed the team through the portal instead of allowing Frenzy to finish the job. So with that established, the team all started to share in the blame for what led to this situation. So with everything settled, Rachel recognized that their mission is now off the beaten path, and the timing of it couldn't be worse, because at this present moment, Charles is speaking to Moira in her 10th life, when she was still a child, which means everything depends on how their conversation goes. For Charles's number one goal is to get through to her and change her mind. But if for some reason, the mad Moira ends up tampering with her own past or finds her way to Charles at this present moment, then everything they have been trying to pull off could completely fall apart. So with that said, we get a small look at Moira's 2nd and 4th life, and while she is there, all she really ends up doing is trying to navigate her way through the time stream while watching key events play out. So with the race against the clock on, we jump back to the white-hot room with the team trying their hardest to plead their case to rejoin the hunt. So as they try their best to make sense of the impossible, Rachel tries her best to provide insight into the topic while facing some unknown threat in issue number 3 of The Rise of the Powers of X. But anyway, through retracing his own steps, Prodigy remembered that Moira hinted to exactly where she was trying to go, and that was to her very first life. So with something to work with, Rachel states according to Charles, Moira's first life was pretty uneventful and didn't stretch on for thousands of years, which means it should be pretty easy to find. Now following that, we jump over to Moira continuing her journey through the time stream, and this time we find her on the preserve during her 6th life. And in this timeline, it is the year 999. And this is the timeline that I was mostly looking forward to seeing, because on a side note, I believe this is the timeline where the machines take over. But anyway, during this timeline Moira goes up against this version of Wolverine. So as they were battling it out, we jump back to Rachel sending the dead X-Men off on their mission. Now this leads us to a faraway Earth's moon, and when we get there, we see a Moira being worked on by a Dr. McCoy. And during the examination, an alarm goes off that led them to believe they were being attacked by Sentinels. So as they geared up for battle, we see our dead X-Men teleport in the middle of a danger room. For this wasn't Moira's first life, but rather her 5th life. And when they get there, they are met by an X-Men team who was led by Psylocke. And on her team, we see of course, Psylocke leading Cyclops, Banshee, Sway, and Wolfsbane. And before they could even introduce themselves, Banshee hit them with a sonic blast. Now this move causes everyone to fly back with the exception of Dazzler, because she has the power to turn sound into light energy. So with the fight on, each member of the dead X-Men team found themselves battling this timeline's team. And the one battle that stuck out was Frenzy versus Psylocke, because in this timeline, Braddock brings up how a week ago, Sentinels attacked them and killed their version of Frenzy. So with their identities unknown, Braddock was not about to let another person die. So in order to clear the air, Frenzy encouraged Betsy to read her mind. So while that is going down, an explosion ripped through the air as the Mad Moira appeared on the scene. So with that out there, this issue of Dead X-Men number 3 comes to an end. Now with this issue over, I have to say, I enjoy this comic more than I thought I would. And one thing I believe they did great with in making this comic was tying it perfectly into the main event, unlike Cable's miniseries. So with that out there, if you want to stay in the loop about any individual storyline, then how about you hop over to the playlist section down below or in the link cards above to get all caught up on the X-Men runs. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.